Well, why not? Hi, Milty. I'm getting ready. It's gonna happen. We're gonna have a presentation on Yes on 2 for Massachusetts voters. It's gonna be totally riveting. But you know, it takes a minute. You gotta get ready. Okay, so now we're good. On Yes on 2 for Massachusetts voters. Okay, so I gotta be able to watch what I'm doing. Oh, is it sideways? Is it wrong? Yeah, I guess I gotta do this. Crumb. Ugh. Okay. Alright, that's better, right? Now it's right side up. Okay. So, Yes on 2, ladies and gentlemen. Massachusetts voters have 2 petitions on the ballot. Petition number 1 and petition number 2. Number 2 is about ranked choice voting. What is that? So I'm just going to quickly go through who we are, what plurality voting is, which is what we've got right now, ranked choice voting, the best solution, and who supports Yes on 2 and ranked choice voting, and how we're going to win in November. So, Yes on 2 is a grassroots work that began with a handful of volunteers in December of 2016. I have been a volunteer for over a year now. Before COVID, I was collecting signatures for the petition in grocery stores from Gloucester to Beverly, Massachusetts. And then during COVID, we had to pick up, we had to do electronic. It was the first ballot initiative that got to use electronic signatures. Pretty exciting. And then now I'm the Essex County sign captain. So if anybody needs a sign for their yard, I'm your man. I'm your captain. Okay. So the grocery store collection thing, we collected 128,000 signatures. That was the largest, like I already told you. And so in July, Secretary Galvin approved the question for the November 3rd ballot, number 2. So generally speaking, ranked choice voting would be used for virtually every office elected on a November ballot. So it's going to be not mayor, and anything for a town mayor or below, that'll be regular voting, and not for president, but everything in between. So governor, and all the federal offices, your senators, your congresspeople, your state senators, your state congresspeople. So check out this. This just happened in our election on September 1st. Women candidates received 62% of the vote. Almost 62% of the vote. And guess what? A man won. So the candidates who dropped out endorsed Mermel. But the candidates that dropped out, they received almost a 5% of the vote anyways, and the margin of victory between these two is just 1.3. So we cannot say that ranked choice voting would have resulted in a different winner, because it would have impacted how the candidates conducted their campaign and how people voted and everything. But because, for instance, no candidate would have been encouraged to leave the race for fear of splitting the vote. So no one would have had to leave. You could just say, I really want Cabell, but my second choice would be, obviously one of these people. But instead, they got a winner where 78% of the voters didn't select him. Isn't that amazing? Democracy. Okay, this one's pretty interesting too. So let's see. So look at the last 20 years of elections in Massachusetts. So in competitive contests, that means contests with more than 2 runners, candidates. The frequency of non-majority winners is very high. That means they won without getting 50% support. So winning without the crucial majority is symptomatic of a spoiler candidates and vote splitting. Like when Perot split between Bush and Clinton, and when Nader split between Gore and Bush. So 60% of the governor's races, both primaries and generals, feature a winner who lack a majority mandate. 44% of all competitive state reps, right here, 44% have a winner that does not have the majority of the district behind them. So, and there's another example, just hold your horses, we'll get to it at the end. So, what we've got is plurality voting. It fails to guarantee majority winners, it creates spoilers, it discourages candidates from running, like Amy Klobuchar and Pete Buttigieg. They dropped out because you got to drop out so that you can throw your support to one of the other ones. That's what happens in plurality. But people who really liked them voted for them anyway, but they'd already dropped out. It's a mess. Plurality voting. It limits our choices, obviously. Those people that were into Pete and Amy, they were limited. They had to come up with a different person to vote for. And it rewards negative campaigning, and it yields apathy. Like, we already have 100 million people not voting in America. If we could maybe have ranked choice voting, although this is just for Massachusetts, not 100 million people, it would infuse a little bit of energy in elections. So let's see. Let's go to the next slide. So what is ranked choice voting? So a voter can rank as many candidates as they wish in the order of their preference, and then in order to win the election, that a candidate has to earn over 50% support from the voters. So, here we go. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. Here we go. So, regular, you got 4 people voting, 4 people running, and you want Barbara. So, you put in your bubble for Barbara. That's plurality voting. This is ranked choice voting. So if ranked choice, so you want Barbara, but you totally love Charlie, right? He's Earth first. So, but Charlie's not going to win because nobody votes for the Earth guy. But you're going to put him as first, and then Barbara as second, and then, like, David's like, okay, but you're pretty confident that Barbara's going to whatever. So David, and you don't want Abby. So Abby's your 4th choice. Okay. So, in this scenario, you voted for Charlie, but it didn't matter because everybody loved Barbara. Your vote's down here, but Barbara got over 50%. So even though it was ranked choice voting, this election's over. Barbara won. She's over 50%. Okay, same election, different scenario. All right, let's say Barbara didn't get 52%. So, different scenario. Barbara got 34%. Your Earth First guy got 11%. So, what happens now is you eliminate the lowest vote getter. You eliminate 11%. And then you look at all of his second choices. And look where his second choices went. You can see the green. You can see that he got a little bit, a little bit of his votes went everywhere. It looks like Abby got the bulk of his votes. But, okay. So then, nobody's still over 50%. So you got to keep going. All right. Now, you eliminated David. David's votes a lot of them went to Abby, so Abby won. Abby won with 56% of the support from the electorate. So there you go. That's how ranked choice voting works. So, ranked choice voting improves things for voters in a number of ways. First, voters are freed from the worry that their vote could be wasted on that Earth First guy, or that they could be voting for a spoiler. And this lets them express their true preferences. And voters get to rank as many or as few as they want. If I just wanted to walk in there and put in my Earth First guy, or put in Barbara Berg and not put in any other choices, totally legit. And then your vote would just sit there in wherever it went. And if they had to eliminate that, if Earth First, guy got eliminated and I didn't put a second choice, that's okay. That my vote wasn't going towards helping a winner anyways with him, so it continues not to. And then the other second choices are redistributed. So, benefits. Winners have majority support. Nothing makes me more bonkers than people like the president winning with minority support. And fresh voices have a chance to compete and win. There was this little example in Maine. There was a ranked choice voting happening, and there were two similar candidates, kind of like Bernie and Warren, similar candidates. And so so the Bernie person, the guy said in the debate, listen, you guys, I agree with her in a lot of positions. So since we have ranked choice voting, put me as your first choice and put her as your second choice. We are really similar. And she piped up and she said, or you can put me as your first choice and him as your second choice. Have you ever seen two candidates that had a lot in common be that nice to each other, encourage voting? That's another plus of ranked choice voting. Okay, so the honorary co-chairs. This is who I am most impressed with. The ethics, the director of the Center for Ethics at Harvard endorses ranked choice voting. This is an ethical way to vote. Our former Republican Governor Bill Weld, our former Democratic Governor Deval Patrick, a former U.S. Treasury Secretary, the president of the NAACP, the Boston Celtics guy, and see Maduro? So Maduro, right there. And 100 more state senators and representatives. Do you love it? Look how much support they have. They've got 100 more. They've got senators and congresspeople. They've got current elected officials. Party endorsements. Democrats, Green, Libertarian. I mean, this is just such a slam dunk. So how are we going to win in November? You gotta endorse us, call me for a lawn sign, you can write a letter, or you can call voters and tell them that Gil says ranked choice voting is the way, and that's amazing. Okay, you guys, let's just go into some of the appendix things, because they're kind of amazing. So this is the long list of all of our partners, of people that agree with us. So, seats held by people of color in the Bay Area. Pre-ranked choice voting, 38%. Post-ranked choice voting, 62%. This is the best story. Okay. So this was a 2019 Fall River mayor, and he was being recalled because he was under federal indictment for fraud, and voters chose to recall him. So 61% of the vote was to recall him. On the same ballot was the mayor race to whoever, if he got recalled, who would replace him. And for some crazy reason, they put his name on the ballot to replace him. So let's just check this out. 39% said keep in office. 35% voted for it. And since there were 4 other people that got split, he won. They did a whole thing, a whole recall election, and elect a new mayor, and it was all for naught, because he got recalled, and then he got reelected, all on the same piece of paper. It's just wrong. The problem is that there were 4 other candidates. And the remove the mayor faction was clearly the majority, but they split the vote. 35% should not be enough to win. This is a serious flaw in our plurality voting system. Ranked choice voters would allow the voters to rank the candidates. A supporter for Riley could list Coogan as their second choice, and this lets the votes for similar candidates aggregate instead of divide, and they lead to a winner supported by the majority. You guys. Okay, so here's another example of why it's a problem to elect people without a majority support. So, this is the Democratic primary from the 3rd Congressional District. There are so many candidates in the race that the winner received 22%, And the first and second place finishers were separated by 137 votes. Now, imagine you were a voter for one of the underdog candidates, and it came down to a race that close. If you had voted for any of the other candidates, you didn't get a say at all. With ranked choice voting, voters get backup choices. If you support an underdog candidate and they were eliminated, your vote would count for your second choice instead, and your vote can never be wasted, and your voice is always heard. Remember this? George Bush, Al Gore, Ralph Nader. George Bush, 48%, 0.85, 0.84. Isn't that crazy? It's so frustrating. 537 vote difference. Ralph Nader, 97,000 votes. If there had been ranked choice voting, people could have put Ralph Nader and then said who their second choice was. So then one of them could have gotten over 50%. Jill Stein, back in 2016, when Trump won, Trump, margin of victory, 10,000 votes. Jill Stein got 51,000 votes in Michigan. In Wisconsin, Trump won by 22,000. Jill Stein got 31,000 votes. In Pennsylvania, he won by 44,000. Jill Stein got almost 50,000 votes. Ranked choice voting would have allowed these voters to have a say on where their vote would go. Let's see. I don't even get this one. But you know what I do want to do? I got to show you a commercial. It's so great. Which one is it? It's this one. Okay, ready? Alexa, pause.
I'm from the Shit Light Party, your soon-to-be new Australian.
Hello, I'm from the Australian government. You know, the Shit Party.
And I'm from the Shit Light Party, your soon-to-be new Australian government.
Whatever, you cow.
Shut up, you mole.
And together we form...
Oh, there's a lot of
Shit
swearing
Light.
in this.
Are you wondering whether to vote shit or shit light this election?
Do you think you need to vote for the lesser of two shits because voting for anyone else would help the shitter party to win?
Good. That means you have no clue how our voting system works.
Which is grass for the coal, gas and mining lobbies that own both of us, because they...
Australia already has ranked choice voting, and they call it, she's going to say, preferential voting. That's the same thing, preferential voting, ranked choice voting.
Thanks to this, whatever the outcome of the election, they win.
The last thing we want you to understand is that, unlike these poor bastards, in Australia, it's impossible to waste your vote.
Well, unless you draw a dick on your ballot.
That's because we have preferential voting.
Preferential voting allows you to vote for the candidate you really want.
And if your first choice doesn't win, your second choice is counted, and so on.
For example, let's say you really want to see serious action on the climate emergency so your kids won't inherit a waterless, fucked up, dead-ass planet. You could give your first preference to a not-shit candidate.
One that isn't owned by these bastards, and who'll fight to ensure your kids have a future, rather than coal.
You can then put shit light after them.
And to ensure we don't get your vote, you could put us last. After all, that's where we always put you.
Sure, your first choice might not receive the majority required to win a seat, but that's okay. Since you put shit light after them, your vote will flow to us anyway, so it's no big loss.
Even if they don't win, they get these benefits thanks to your first preference vote.
But if enough of you do this, some of those not shit candidates will win some seats.
They would then become an MP and sit on the crossbench, allowing them to vote on proposals for new coal mines, oil drilling in the Bight, fracking the NT, and other planet-killing shit fuckery.
We try to scare you away from not shit candidates by telling you bullshit like,
You're wasting your vote.
and,
You're helping the shit party win.
and,
They're not a party of government.
But that's just to distract you from the truth that the more not shit MPs who vote to the crossbench, the more we have to listen to you rather than our fossil fuel donors.
thank fuck, most of you have no idea about this and will waste your vote in the only way possible in Australia.
By putting one of us first, instead of making your vote truly count with preferential voting.
Two-party system.
Making your government shit either way. Authorised by the Department for not teaching you this stuff in school.
I'm trying to press pause. This computer's a little slow. Alright, so the other thing I wanted to show you, not this. Where is this? This guy. So there's this one more slide that is all about Massachusetts, all about the United States. And let's see, maybe I can just drag this over and show you. Okay, so we're gonna go to this guy. Okay, so this shows that the United States has 20 states already, 20 states that have some form of ranked choice voting. Maine, it's used statewide. Municipal use, meaning there's some cities and towns in some municipalities in California, Colorado, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, New Mexico, and Utah. It has been used in Cambridge, Mass, and for their local elections for years. Oh gosh. Military and overseas in Alabama, Arkansas, Illinois, Louisiana, Mississippi, and South Carolina. Overseas ballots and military ballots are ranked choice. And presidential primaries use ranked choice voting in Alaska, Hawaii, Kansas, Nevada, and Wyoming. So it's not like this is like brand new. This has been around. Lots of countries have it. Massachusetts, let's see. So, Ireland and Australia for over 100 years. Also parts of Canada, Scotland, India, and New Zealand use it. And then this is that list that I just gave you, read through the map with you. So, I hope that this helps kind of understand more about ranked choice voting. Please reach out to me with questions. It's still the United States, so not everything's perfect. But I just wanted to throw something up here to make sure that people had some information about ranked choice voting. So ask me about ranked choice voting. I hope you can see that. Alright, now I'm going to read my comments. Milton, Pat, Bonnie, Michelle. Hi, everybody. Julia. The Aussie take on it. Hi, Deambra. So, I guess I can turn this camera around so you don't have to look at the phone. So, I hope that helps. I'm going to try and make this a shareable thing so that you can send it to friends who kind of want to understand a little bit more about ranked choice voting. I think it's super important. You've got to vote yes on 2. You've got to vote yes on 2. I really, really want you to. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Alexa, unpause. Play some music.